Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to Newsdose. And before we get into the video today, I just want to give everybody a heads up. I will not be making a Newsdose video tomorrow. It is Thanksgiving, and I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday this year, so go enjoy time with your family. With that said, though, there's still some interesting things happening today, including some PlayStation Plus games leaking out online, and Halo Infinite has gotten off to an extremely fast start. I think the writing has been kind of on the wall for a little while now, but Halo is back in a big way. So we will go over all of that today, plus plenty more. To start today's episode off, though, we will be talking about 12 Minutes. 12 Minutes is an interactive thriller that released earlier this year directly into Xbox Game Pass. This is a pretty interesting game in terms of its story and its narrative. You do play as a man trapped in a death loop, and you try to uncover the mysteries that surrounds this story, and it actually does have a very enthralling tale to tell. Now, with that said, 12 Minutes can be a little bit polarizing. From what I've seen, some people just absolutely love this game for its gripping story. They like the puzzles in it, they like the overall setting, and just the mystery of this game. But then other people have some complaints with the pacing and the repetition, and some people find the puzzles a little bit too difficult. So it really depends on what side of the spectrum you fall on when it comes to 12 Minutes. But what I can say is that enough people do view this as one of the better independent games to release in 2021 that it actually got nominated for the Independent Game of the Year over at the Game Awards. So again, a lot of people do still very much like this game a lot. So if you are interested in 12 Minutes, you can check it out on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, or PlayStation 5 starting December 7th. Again, it's also available on PC, Xbox, and Xbox Game Pass as well. Next up, I do have some news for Neo The World Ends With You, though unfortunately, this is not good news, especially for fans of this franchise. I know there's quite the cult following for this franchise, especially with that first game, and fans had to wait for over a decade to get its sequel. So I know there's a lot of fans out there that was kind of hoping that this sequel would perform better, and that it would just kind of solidify this as a legitimate franchise going forward. Unfortunately, though, that just does not appear to be the case. Square Enix has now confirmed that this game has not performed up to expectations. They said this over in a statement. While Neo The World Ends With You was well received by users, it has underperformed our initial expectations. So if you are a fan of these games and that you are hoping to see more within this franchise going forward, that is not what you want to hear. This does sound like yet another high quality entry that just has not performed up to expectations, and sadly this could possibly be the end of this franchise depending on just how much it underperformed. Now, with all of that said, there's still some things that they can do to get things turned around. They could release this game on other platforms such as Xbox and Steam. By releasing it on Steam, which is the most popular storefront on PC, that could go a long way in helping this game out. But then also possibly releasing this into Xbox Game Pass, which we have seen in the past really help out some of these smaller games that does go a little overlooked. So maybe they could release this directly into Xbox Game Pass, and that could get the ball rolling and having a lot of fans just kind of talk about a game like this. So you can still continue to hold hope, and maybe they can get things turned around with Neo The World Ends With You. What I will say, though, is that I think Square Enix kind of botched this release, because here you do have yet another quality release, but they didn't really give it much marketing. Now, I know they had that anime and everything, but when it comes to Neo The World Ends With You, the game, I really didn't see much marketing for this game, and for a franchise that already doesn't have this massive following, I feel like they could have done a little bit more to help this game out. I mean, you have a quality release, so put the marketing in to make it a success. So I think Square Enix did botch this release. On the opposite side of things, though, we do have a game that started off very fast over on Xbox, being Halo Infinite. Now, of course, Halo is the face of Xbox and has always been a flagship title for this console, so it shouldn't be a major surprise that it has gotten off to a fast start. But what is so impressive is that it is already the #1 most played game on Xbox. That means it has beaten out just absolute behemoths such as Fortnite, Call of Duty Warzone, Apex Legends, Grand Theft Auto 5. It's being played more than Battlefield. And yes, right now, Halo Infinite is one of the most popular games in the entire industry when it comes to competitive multiplayer. That is not an easy task to do, to beat out games like Call of Duty Warzone and Fortnite. So this is a very impressive start for Halo Infinite over on Xbox. Now, some people might say that this is just because Halo Infinite is new, and of course we will have to see how well they can sustain the player base in Halo Infinite, but you also have to take a look at other first-person shooters that have released here recently, such as Battlefield 2042 and Call of Duty Vanguard. Halo Infinite is beating those quite significantly, and you can see something very similar happening over on Steam as well. As we talked about last week, Halo Infinite did break a record for the most concurrent players ever for any Microsoft game over on Steam. And then meanwhile, you have Battlefield 2042, which is heavily struggling. So yes, it does look like Halo Infinite is besting its competition right now quite handily this year. Right now, heading into the holiday, it does look like Halo Infinite will be the best new first-person shooter to play on the market. And this is quite big for Xbox. A lot of people out there does believe that Halo is the most important franchise for Xbox, and with them succeeding early like this could go a long way for not only the goodwill of Xbox, but it could actually be a real system seller, as it does look like right now the place to be for playing competitive multiplayer first-person shooters would be Xbox with Halo Infinite. It is starting to look like that delay for Halo Infinite has paid off in a big way. The multiplayer is an absolute blast. The early impressions for its single-player campaign has been well received, and really the only problem that the community kind of agrees on right now when it comes to Halo Infinite would be its battle pass. That is something that they still do need to work on, and well, we actually do have a little bit of news regarding that as well. 343's Brian Gerard has now responded to the criticism regarding the battle pass and the progression system within Halo Infinite. And this is what he had to say. Been traveling, so slow to respond, but please know the constructive feedback is being heard loud and clear. Changes will take time, and our priority this week is giving the team a much-deserved break for the holiday after a long final stretch. Thank you for understanding. So the good news here is that they're listening to the feedback, and they are going to be fixing some of the problems that people have with the progression system within Halo Infinite. Now, how long this takes and what they do to fix it kind of remains to be seen. I think one solution here would be to, I don't know, maybe just give XP based off of kills, winning games and doing all the things that you need to do in a competitive shooter, rather than having you do very specific tasks within the game that oftentimes actually has you going against what you should be doing to actually win the game. Right now, the way it's set up, it can actually put your teammates in a bit of a bind with you focusing on the task rather than actually focusing to, I don't know, win the game. For the time being, though, we'll just have to kind of wait and see what they decide to do here. Right now, they are on a holiday break, which is completely understandable, but hopefully they get this type of stuff fixed up sometime here soon, though, because other than that, I mean, this game is absolutely extraordinary. Really some of the most fun that I've had in a competitive shooter in years. So they've done a great job of setting this game up for success, and if they do get that battle pass fixed up, they could have a game here with some real long-term success. Next up here, though, we do have some PlayStation Plus games that might have leaked out a little early. Bill Kuhn, who has correctly leaked the PlayStation Plus lineups for September, October, and November, has now also supposedly leaked out December's lineup as well. And this is actually a pretty interesting list of games here, being Godfall Challenger Edition for the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4, Mortal Shell for the PlayStation 4, and then Lego DC Supervillains for the PlayStation 4. And this isn't an intriguing lineup here because right away I think Mortal Shell is going to be a game that stands out. This game was also recently announced for Xbox Game Pass, so we did talk about this one very recently, and this is a game that often goes a little under the radar. This is a Dark Souls-like game, and while there are a lot of Dark Souls clones out there, Mortal Shell does it surprisingly well. Fans seem to really like this one, but unfortunately it just doesn't get a lot of recognition. With it coming to PlayStation Plus as well as Xbox Game Pass for that matter, though, this game suddenly might get a lot more recognition. Now, the other one that's kind of interesting on this list would be Godfall Challenger Edition. The thing about this particular game was that Godfall was this big PlayStation 5 launch exclusive that Sony kind of marketed in like every single event for an entire year. They were pushing hard for this game. It's like this hack and slash style of Destiny game, and while it didn't really meet expectations, but interestingly enough here, it does say Godfall Challenger Edition, which actually, I believe that's a new edition of the game. So it will be interesting to see if they've changed anything here, or maybe they have fixed up some of the problems that that initial release had. So this one might be worth keeping an eye on, especially if you like the core gameplay of that original Godfall release. For the time being, though, keep in mind that all of this is just a rumor for the time being, though, considering the reputation of Bill Kuhn in the past, this likely could turn out to be legit. Now, one last thing that we're quickly going to talk about here would be the Steam Autumn Sale. The Steam Autumn Sale is now officially live and will be available from November 24th all the way to December 1st. And per usual, when it comes to Steam, there are some major discounts here. This is where my backlog really just kind of began years and years ago, as I just bought all these games with these insane deals. I kind of try to hold back a little bit now, but there are a ton of games here that you can pick up. I mean, just kind of skimming through this, you have games like Red Dead Redemption 2, which is 50% off for $30, Cyberpunk 2077, $30, Guardians of the Galaxy, which just released last month, is going for $39, Horizon Zero Dawn, $25, Halo the Master Chief Collection, $20, Deathloop, another game that is very new, is going for $30, Dark Souls Remastered, $20, Skyrim, $13, Tales of Arise, $45, Psychonauts 2, please everybody go out and pick that game up. It's going for $42. Resident Evil Village, another game that released this year, $30, and the list just kind of goes on and on. Per usual, when it comes to these Steam sales, you are going to get some pretty insane discounts here. Here's another one actually, Death Stranding, $18. That is an absolute steal right there. Now, Steam also does their Game of the Year awards, which you can actually now vote over on Steam as well, so do keep that in mind. If you are looking to pick up some games for your PC, or actually for the Steam Deck, which will be out sometime next year, you can go stock up right now over on Steam. Let's go and take a look at the poll of the day, though, where I asked you all, if Sony decides to make limited edition PlayStation 5 faceplates, would you be interested in buying one? Of course, we've had several third-party sellers sell these things over the last year, though Sony doesn't seem to be particularly happy with that, so they actually did patent their PlayStation 5 faceplates, and it does sound like they might be making some in the future. So I wanted to know, if the price is right, would you all pick one of these up? And well, 30% of you said yes, while 48% of you said no. Now, of course, a lot of this is going to depend on the price and what limited edition faceplates that they will have to offer, but I do think that this is a genius design. I've said this in the past, but the fact that you can drastically change the looks of your PlayStation 5 without having to buy another $500 console, that is quite incredible. I really do hope that PlayStation takes advantage of this, and from the results here, it does seem like a lot of you all would be interested in picking up these limited edition faceplates. Maybe they could release a limited edition Spider-Man faceplate. Maybe they could release a God of War Ragnarok one, or Horizon Forbidden West. They do have some popular franchises that I think that they could make some nice artwork out of with these plates, hopefully for a good price. That is going to be very important as well. Though I have to say, if they were going to make a faceplate that will interest me, I would actually like to see them make some PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 3 themed faceplates. I think that would be really cool to see, and if they were to do something like that, I think they would definitely have me interested. If anything, I just like having the option of doing something like this. I know the Xbox 360 kind of gave you that option years ago, but with the PlayStation 5, I mean, you can really change the looks of this console, so hopefully, again, they take advantage of this design. It is a little unfortunate that they keep bringing the hammer down on these third parties, which have already been doing this, but hopefully Sony will come out and do something officially sometime here soon. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.